Today, I'm talking to Dan Rivera from Church of the King. Not sure how much you know about Church of the King. I'm sure you've heard of SCU worship, long legacy, so many stories behind there. But I think what I find fascinating about Dan, young guy, just in this season where you're reconciling my love of music, my love to write, my love to lead, and then my love for my family. I just want to be around my kids. I want to raise my family in a city. I want to be immersed in a church. I mean, just natural human desires. And sometimes those come together and we got to make choices. And I think we might hear about some of that today. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Join me as we talk to Dan Rivera. Here we go. Dan, well, we were just talking for 10 minutes and I was like, are we recording? We should be recording this. So here we are. Now we can just continue the conversation. But, just to kind of set the stage, I feel like I'm 55, you're 34, we're about 20 years apart, almost like a generation apart. I've just raised 4 kids. They're 29, 28, 26, 25. I can tell you everything you want to know about how to get kids through the doors. You are right in the center of it. Young kids
Right.
at home. I mean, I know it, and I know what it's like to reconcile life, career, visions, endeavors with like what really matters to me. What is my highest, desire in life? So, tell me about that in you, like in your stage of your life right now. What is most important for you with all the potential, all the things you could do? You could probably travel anywhere in the world, sing for thousands or tens of thousands. But what really breaks your heart? What do you really want?
I think, some of what we were talking about before we
Yeah.
began is my story of having been. I spent a lot of time touring, traveling, and collaborating, writing, and just working with people all over the country, and just having a great time doing that. And it kind of all came to a head. I had to make a decision,
Mm-hmm.
and I made the decision that as I was explaining to you, I'm a pastor at heart.
That's
I
where I
just am.
wanted to press record,
I'm,
is on
I'm,
that. I wanted you to
I'm
say
just a
that.
church guy at heart. It's like,
Yes. Yes.
oh man, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'd lead worship in environments, and the things that would affect me and bother me wouldn't affect some of the other team or some of the other worship leaders. And I
Yeah.
think to myself, I just maybe God's wired me a little different. And as I reflect on some of those things, I realize it was just I'm God made me to be a part of a house of worship, a house of just a church. That's how God wired
Mm-hmm.
me, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I love doing it. And I love doing it in the context of raising 3 boys, being married to my amazing, beautiful wife, and
Mm-hmm.
just and watching what God does as we see people come to know Christ, and getting to lead people to. I could cry. I could get emotional. I
Hmm.
like watching people come to know Jesus in our small group, and
Wow.
watching people just get free of stuff, that's plagued them their
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's
Hmm.
all the stuff that makes church so special. And then, oh, by
Yes.
the way, with all these people, we're gonna go make some music.
Right.
It's been
Yes.
really cool, and
Yes.
just special and sweet. And that's the season that
I think
I'm
that's
in. And yeah, there's good.
what's that? Go ahead.
I said there's always more opportunities to write, to record,
Tour,
it's
all
easy
that.
for anybody to fall into a temptation of like, oh, the iron's hot on something, you got to move fast, you got to da 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 da.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
feel like iron is only hot on one thing in my life, and that's raising
Mm.
boys who love God and
Mm-hmm.
loving my wife well, and that's it.
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
everything else comes out of, you
Well, I'll
know,
tell you something. Maybe this
yeah,
will be encouraging to you, but the people that are listening to this podcast, whoever they are, mostly are not artists. They're mostly not touring artists. Most of them are worship pastors just trying to get through every Sunday with the same congregation and the same team, and some of them it's going amazing, and some of them I know it can be a wrestle from week to week, and so we just want to share these stories to sort of give people a little window in behind someone else's heart, and I think it's just so great that you have that heart for the church in particular, and clearly you have a track record and a history of being able to record albums and write songs that people all over the nation are singing. But you seem to have this singular focus out of which that stems from. So I find that really, really encouraging. Thank you for sharing that. And even just as your tears almost like welled up a bit as you share about like what's the one thing that really burns the fire in your heart. And you're talking about your small group. I mean, that's not even dozens. That's probably less than a dozen or whatever. Not hundreds, not thousands or tens of thousands.
Yeah,
No
right.
lights, no lasers, no smoke, no nothing. Right? Like all the things that, no multi tracks, no,
Right.
arrangements and all of that. That's where the heart of
No.
even PraiseCharts kind of started from. That I was writing songbooks on paper napkins, getting together with 12 people, and 6 of us would have acoustic guitars. So we'd all be like, we need music. We all want to play guitar. There's not enough guitars to go around. And we would, develop calluses over that. And eventually my guitar case is full of napkins, full of songs like Open the Eyes of My Heart, Lord, and Shout to the Lord, and Refiner's Fire, and I don't know, all the old 90s
Mm.
songs. And that was like, that just kind of goes back to the core of who I am. But here you and I are having this conversation now and just merging in this world. So it's
That's
encouraging.
beautiful. And I think I know all of us are kind of nostalgic for that as worship, leaders, worship pastors. We're all kind of
Yeah.
nostalgic for the era where we first fell in love with worship music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what I'm nostalgic for is what you said too. It's like that it's just a small group of people. We're kind
Yeah.
of figuring this thing out. We're learning how to make, all the parts work together, and and
Yeah.
what's it and there is no broadcast camera in the back. There is no
Yeah.
record button. There's just, hey, when we do this really well together,
Yeah.
um, I feel closer to God. I
Yeah.
feel closer to you guys. And what I hear from people is that they feel closer to God. And
Yeah.
so, and it's in the Bible that we do this. So somehow in doing
Yeah.
all of this, we're being obedient to the Lord
Yeah.
just by leading our worship teams and getting on the same page. We're being obedient to the Lord, and it's doing something special. And all of us are kind
Yeah.
of nostalgic for a time and a sound when
Yeah.
we first fell with it. But mine's very reminiscent to yours. I remember, yeah, when the tracks and all that stuff started to get integrated and learning
Yes.
it, but I was already in the flow of being a worship leader at that time.
Yeah.
It's interesting leading young people, and they don't know a time,
Right.
without tracks,
No.
because we have a college on site here. I was out of college for years, so
Yeah.
it's just funny how that's true. We're all kind of nostalgic for that time, and
Yeah.
but the
Hey.
core of it is you learn a lesson, and is that it doesn't take much to do something special and beautiful and meaningful with a worship team. It
Yeah.
doesn't take much.
For sure. Can you take me through a little bit of like what's life like for you? I'm talking about your regular worship team week. You get together, you practice. How do you get to a place where on Sunday you finish a Sunday and feel like that was as best as it could ever have been? Can you walk me through like just the routine of what that looks like in your worship pastor world? I just like to know that.
Yeah, so I tend to just hyper focus on my own personal skills,
Mm-hmm.
sharpening them. One of which is my ability to love people and lead team. So I focus
Mm-hmm.
on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I communicating clearly enough what the expectations for the weekend service is? Am I caring for people? So I focus on and then my personal ability to lead worship. I'm always working on my voice. I'm trying to become a better producer, a better songwriter, of course, but a better musician. So I'm focusing on my personal skills, making sure I'm great. Part of which is how I lead a team. Then, when I'm thinking about the worship team, I'm trying to identify and empower the most talented, gifted ones I can find, and just pastor them, love them, and lead them to Jesus all the time.
Yeah.
That's not a very tactical answer. That's more like my principles, I guess, is how I think
Yes.
about leading the team. So on Monday, I'm on a Zoom call. And now we're a large multi-site church, so we've got a few staff at different locations. So on our Monday call, I love to spend time in the morning with all of our team, all of our coordinators that lead our campuses, and we're talking about what's right, wrong, missing, and confusing at their campuses, what God's doing. We love to share. We always start with testimonies on that call, and then it's a big kind of like teamwork call. People talk, how can we help one another, and then how can I, as your worship pastor, kind of support you and empower you guys, and then straight from there, I go to our a chapel service we do with our college students. We have a college on site. So a couple of 18 to 22-year-olds leading worship. And I just try and go and touch base with one or two of the leaders there, encourage them, maybe give them some feedback on what they're doing. And then throughout the week, we're just kind of administrating, planning, and preparing. We'll do a midweek rehearsal seasonally, but we don't do one all the time.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
we've had conversations about bringing that back.
Yeah.
And the reason we didn't do it is because we do Wednesday night youth, Thursday night young adults. We have a Saturday night service, and then a Sunday. So if we
You don't have
had,
time to practice.
yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is like for some of these, and then every now and then, if we have a special event like a women's night or something like that, it's sort of like okay, what serves our team best. So we eliminated it, and we put more emphasis on preparedness and made space before our technical run through to actually practice and work on parts. We resourced the team better. We give them some more parts and stuff to listen through, and so we kind of pursued that. I mean, but we're always kicking the ball around on that. I think we may end up landing back in a monthly rehearsal flow. So it's kind of that. Those are some of the things, kind of the way I think as far as how to prepare each week for the team. Personally, um, of course, I'm praying, and I read my word on the Saturday and the Sunday before. And if I feel like God's speaking to something to me for the team, I'll share that with the team
Yeah.
as we prepare our hearts. But to me, great worship teams are comprised of great people, and
Yeah.
so I just try and find really talented people who love God and are really gifted musically, and I try and just keep those two fires alive in them. Hey,
Yeah.
stay really sharp musically, and then I just try and exercise the humility of getting out of the way so those guys can lead, run, run, lead, run, 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 run,
Yeah.
run, run. And I have found that if I'm just really good at finding the right leaders and trying to empower them, and me having the both the humility, but then the confidence to know to over empower, but then also know when it's appropriate for me to step in, and I'm still learning how to do that. It's like more of an art than a science. Then I have found that if I focus on those things, and my own personal skills, like I said at the top, growing in those, that the rest of the worship team begins to flourish. And yeah, so I don't know that it's necessarily like a
No.
few principles I could give you, but that's more of just like a
Well, you
framework.
gave me some great stuff. Like I feel like what I was hearing from you is you seem to have a good sense of knowing what your skill set is, what your top thing is that you're bringing to the table, and you're wanting to work on that. And that's not everything. It's just what those things are. Like you said, team leading, some musical skill in that, and then yeah, finding people on your team and then pouring into them so that they could know what their three things are that are their highest thing, and then you bring it together and elevate that. So I think that's profound, and I can tell it's a very much of like a pastoral approach, because as a worship pastor, as opposed to say a typical maybe artist where you're thinking, I got to get my name out there, I got to get my face out there, I got to get my songs. But you're, as a worship pastor, you're often thinking, what do I need to do to enable this team to thrive? and as a result, this church to thrive. And it's it's perhaps just it's a different shift. It's a different mindset. Being a worship pastor is such a unique role, and takes a lot of depth of character to do that week in, week out.
And I
Yeah.
wrestle with the same stuff any other creative does, where it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, am I losing the artist in me? Am I somehow, not being obedient to God by embracing the artist in me?
Yeah.
And um, God's so faithful. I find that if I just continue to serve people, the songs get better
Yeah.
that I write.
Yeah.
And 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 the other thing, a little disconnected to that, that's just true, is I've been very blessed to have seasons of a lot of opportunities to collaborate, right, and be on stages and platforms that a lot of people just would never have. And
Yeah.
um, I'll just tell you, you still put your head down at night in the same pillow with the same
Right. You're still a human
and the
being.
same, yeah, the
Yeah.
same issues, the same everything. It's like, so I'd rather my art be a life lived unto God, and then hopefully from that comes all this other beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to be obedient,
That's so great.
That's, yeah.
Well, I didn't tell you this, but I kind of hinted at it as I was actually in Louisiana, I think 10 days ago, literally. So, I
What?
mean, just was in your state. We went and did a worship conference. I was up north, Shreveport. Do you know Shreveport, Louisiana?
Yeah,
That's
no
little,
way.
yeah. So,
You got to tell me next
and
time.
I'm like, I
We know each
know.
other. I'd
So
love to
my
come see how.
response was, I was like, man, I overdressed for Shreveport. It was hot. Oh my goodness. It is not like Langley, BC climate. So good on
No.
you.
Welcome to
Yeah.
the South. I wear a
Yeah.
sweater inside because we turn the AC up.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, Louisiana is great.
Did you get to eat
We were
any
trying to,
Cajun food?
yes, I did. Went to a Cajun restaurant and had some, oh, I can't remember what I had, but definitely tried my hand at some, true southern foods. So that
So
was
you're from
good.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
You may know, I'm sure you know, Cajun comes from Acadian. It's people
Oh,
that live in Northeast, North America, up in
yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
And as Maine got taken over by American colonizers,
Okay.
the Acadians made their way down to French Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
So French Canadians made their way down to, and
Yeah.
it over time became Cajuns, but they're Acadians.
There you
So
go.
hey, I'm connected
There
to you
we
in more
go.
ways
See,
than
we're like
before.
brothers. We're like brothers. We just discovered each other. Next time I come, I'll look you up. Okay, so we should talk a little bit about this album. Now we're talking about all this worship pastor stuff, and people are
Come
like, well,
on.
what about the songs? Come on, let's talk about the songs. So, I mean, your church is making music that churches are singing and listening to. This is the latest from Church of the King. When you look at this list, I mean, what stands out? Any kind of moments or people? Just tell me what you see, and then let me dive in on it. Just a couple songs. Just give us a little behind the scenes on a couple moments.
So Fan the Flame is the first single we released from this
Yeah,
EP. It's a song I lead, and we were doing a purity conference for high school students.
yeah,
And so basically, it was 2 days. We were asking students who wanted to kind of take the next step in just purity and seeking God to dedicate these days. And I was leading worship for one of them. And during kind of like an altar response time, the guys are out there. Excuse me, the students are coming to the altar. They're responding, and I just got this overwhelming sense that God was doing something really special in the lives of young people in our church. And I just started to say this prayer from my heart: fan the flame, stir the fire. I want to be a part of your revival. And then me and our youth pastor and some of the other youth team ended up writing the rest of the song just a few weeks later. We kind of sat down and finished the rest of the song. So, it's about saying yes to the call of God. It's about a desire to want to be used by the Lord. And so, yeah, that's Fan the Flame.
beautiful, beautiful. And I was showing a few pictures. I mean, I went and scraped a few videos that you guys have of these songs, but I always love some of these images, and I'm sure it can create a little memories for you of leading those. But is this in your church house? This is where you lead every Sunday morning?
So that's actually our youth room. We call it the annex,
Okay,
and
nice.
um, so we do our Wednesday nights, our Thursday nights here. But that's where
Yeah.
this room. It was special to do the album in this room because that's where the church really it didn't necessarily start, but it was
Yeah.
the beginning years, really early years of growth and watching the church expand was in this building. It used to be
Yeah.
a ice skating rink that got
Yeah.
excuse me, roller
Amazing.
skating that got converted to church. Yeah,
Roller skating. Wow.
yeah, and they used to call us holy rollers.
Yeah. How about come just as you are? I just want to like click into a couple of these. This is um
Yeah.
another
So
one. Just tell me about
this
that.
song kind of we were just talking about what we love about our church, and
Yeah.
you know, so and then those lyrics just kind of started to come on out as we were putting it together. All who are weary come to the Lord, all who are
Yeah.
broken He will restore. Because in this house, come just as you are. An interesting story about that. So we ended up actually, our church has been around for 25 years. This is the first time we put out music as a church, and so we really wanted to make sure it was true to the heart of our house.
Yeah.
So one thing we did is actually vetted all of the songs and lyrics through some of our pastors and leaders on staff and our lead team, and they were the ones actually that kind of helped elevate some of the lyrics. They made some suggestions, so we kind of went back to the bridge, and it's cool because some of the changes they made really reflect kind of the teamwork aspect of our church and how an album gets made. And we ended up changing the lyrics of the bridge, and the bridge now says, "When we come to Jesus, we're made new. Our past has been forgiven. Make us more like you." Why is that
Yeah.
important? Because the idea is more than come just as you are. It's come just as you are, but when you leave, you're changed.
Right.
Like
It's
everybody can
good.
come, but when you come, you leave
Yeah.
changed. So you,
Yeah.
you came one way, but you leave differently, and that's the
Yeah.
power of the gospel. So
Hmm. Hey, just as I was doing a little reading on your church and your music style, I came across this phrase, which is the first time I've heard this. I don't know if this means anything to you. This phrase, prophetic pop. Have you ever heard that phrase
yes,
before? Someone described that of you. What do you think of that phrase? What is that? How does that
that's something
reflect
that
you?
I used to say to try and describe some of the music I was working on, and when we talked
Aha.
about SCU worship back in the day.
Back in the
So
day.
yeah, because when I was at, I would say, um, and the reason we talked about prophetic pop had to do with it felt like those were two words that didn't really fit together.
Yeah.
We saw a future where they could fit together,
Hmm.
So, and there's a lot to say about that. Pop music is the kind of music you just listen to generally that you connect to, and the prophetic means a lot of things. One of the things it means is the word of God. Like to prophesy the word of God is to speak the word of God.
Hmm.
Um, the prophetic books in the Bible have some of the most musical structure and poetry to them.
Yes.
We think of like the Psalms as being very poetic, which they are, but they're poetic in a very Jewish Hebrew sense.
Yes.
And but as far as actual rhyming and some musical flow, as I understood it, I mean, I'm having to go back to my, you know, seminary training days, basically, to think about.
Yes.
But the Old Testament and Isaiah, Jeremiah, you got a lot more of a musical quality to it. So it's kind of reclaiming the prophetic for art, but also the Word of God coming together with music that people like to listen to. I mean, even throughout this Fill the Earth EP that we just did as Church of the King, I think we're really interested in what kind of stuff can you connect to and just listen to. Like, does it
Yes.
feel like and sound like something you listen to otherwise, and does it have a prophetic touch on it? It's definitely
Mm-hmm.
something. Um, that's
Well,
important to
it
me personally.
sounds like as I was listening to you, reflecting on your week and just even musical excellence is something that's a priority to you. Like you are working on your craft, you're working on your voice, your instruments. You want other people to elevate their musical expertise and then bring that together with the heart of worship and contribute something that's both worshipful and desiring to listen to, something like that. So that sounds really,
Yeah, I would say that's true. I think just excellence in craft in general is very important to me. It's that
yeah.
you'll have to forgive me. I don't know the whole reference off the top of my head, but I think it's in the book of Colossians that whatever you do, do it with excellence as unto the Lord. And
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it said before about um, Geneva, John Calvin, the reformer, the town that he was in, that they said that even like the shoemakers in Geneva, as they were experiencing this kind of move of the Reformation gospel and move of God happening in their time, that even the shoes were the best quality you could get in the world.
Yeah.
And it's
Wow.
because they were really committed to the idea of doing everything unto God with excellence. And I say all the time to our team, when I was 16 years old, I walked into a church service, and I grew up in church, a really small church. We didn't have a huge band, and um, we kind of did older songs. And I just thought the whole thing was kind of for somebody else. Didn't feel crafted to me, and I was just wrestling with God at the time. I was 16 years old. I walk into this large church gathering. It's this a youth conference, and Leland is leading worship with his band at the time, and
Hmm.
they did the most beautiful, awesome arrangement of "How Great Thou Art." I mean, I think he was
Mm-hmm.
like, what, 20 years old or 19 or something at the
Mm-hmm.
time, and I remember just being floored at how well done it was. A song I'd heard so many times that they cared enough to put that level of detail, and then
Hmm.
it's like that happened, and it felt like it was for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't make fun of the bad music, and that's a really, like, funny thing to say, but I'm just a teenager at the time, so, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I had no reason to dismiss it. I was just moved by the excellence of it. And they took all that time to make that excellent moment so that I wasn't distracted, so that out of that moment, a preacher could come up, say the truth, and my heart was so wide open
Hmm.
because I'm like, these people care. This is amazing. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, boom, God can move in my life. Somebody could put the time and energy into making that moment for me. I can put the time and energy
Mm-hmm.
into listening to this song and learning the lyrics
Yeah.
and learning the chords and learning the part beforehand to make a moment that's a distraction-free environment where somebody can come in,
Yes.
get moved by the excellence of it,
Yeah.
and then encounter Christ. I just think that's powerful. I think that's true about every discipline.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like we got people who operate broadcast cameras at a broadcast location. A lot of them, almost all of them, are just dream team. They're just doing it out of their volunteer time, what they want to give to the church. So
Yeah.
they're working with really technical equipment, focusing the camera, and it's so sensitive, and at the end, but do it with excellence. Do it as unto
Right.
God.
Yep.
And that's amazing. Could you?
Yeah.
We didn't get to see the temple, right?
Yeah.
And it's the original temple, but I promise you that thing was done with excellence.
Yes. Totally.
I promise you that thing looked amazing
Yeah.
because they understood that they're doing something unto God.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's almost a point of irritation when people show up and they're not prepared. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm very generous and kind, I'm gracious, and I understand people got stuff going on,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, we have a lot on the line, actually.
Yeah.
Like, people are coming into these environments and they don't even know if God's real. And
Right.
meanwhile, you showed up and you're like, oh, who cares if I know the song or whatever? I can open up the chords, look at it on my phone,
Yes.
or just kind of like limp along.
Yeah.
There's too much on the line for us to
Yeah.
do anything less than excellent. There just
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's intense. I don't know. I
No.
just I just think it matters. I think it glorifies God. So one, I think the excellence in musicianship, the excellence in your craft, I think it glorifies God. Two, I think it presents a better experience for people to not get distracted and then encounter God. Three, I think it helps me get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds strange, but as you're discipling somebody, if you can teach them how to be excellent in this song, you might be teaching them how to be excellent in other areas of their life too, like how to bring that level of attention and detail to their workplace, to their
Mm-hmm.
home. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
can actually really serve them in a discipleship manner, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So I
Yeah.
really think it's important. And my team's gonna laugh when they hear me say this, because 'cause I've been talking
Hmm.
about excellence a lot, but I just think
I
it's
love
super
it.
important.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm leading at my church on Sunday, and I can't wait to get there. I'm gonna put a little extra in to get myself ready, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Sunday, and thank you for bringing the worship pastor's heart to this conversation. You are so much more than just an artist, and I love the way you integrate it. You know, the excellence of an artist, but the heart of a worship pastor, and
Mm.
even below that is like you're a father, you're a dad to young kids who are looking up at you, going, "That's my dad up there. What is he doing in front of a microphone on a Sunday morning?" They're just trying to grapple with that, and your wife, just those are the things that matter, and are the things that will last. So thank you for modeling that and teaching us through your testimony today. So appreciate you a lot, Dan, and congrats to you for this album and much more music to come at Church of the King. So thank you for the conversation.
I'm honored to be here. We utilize your resources. We're grateful. I
Thank
know
you.
they don't appear out of thin air. I know you guys put time and energy into them. So thank you,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you for having us on here. We're just honored, truly. Thank you.
right on. Well, this is Ryan Dalton, Dan Rivera, Praise Charts Live. Enjoy your day.